In the spring of 2025, humanity is faced with a threat that goes far beyond Earth. A mysterious signal called the Red Whisper emanated from Gale Crater on Mars, which paralyzed Martian rovers, knocked satellites out of orbit, and threatened to disrupt colonization plans for the Red Planet. The analysis showed that the signal was the work of an ancient alien artifact activated by an unknown force, possibly related to recent experiments on the extraction of helium-3 on Mars. If left unchecked, the Red Whisper could spread to Earth, shutting down global communications, power grids, and financial systems, and causing chaos comparable to the apocalypse. The United Nations, unprepared for space crises and torn apart by political disputes, has found itself at an impasse. At this critical moment, two leaders whose names caused intense emotions around the world, Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin, decided to lead a mission to Mars in order to save humanity and write their names in the annals of space history. The story began on a sunny April day at Mar-a-Lago, the luxurious residence of Donald Trump in Florida. Dressed in a white golf shirt, a red MAGA cap, and sunglasses, Trump enjoyed playing on his course while discussing with friends an ambitious project, the Trump Mars Resort, the first five-star hotel on the Red Planet. He imagined glass domes with views of craters, golf courses with artificial gravity, and casinos were better placed in cryptocurrency. His dreams were interrupted by an urgent call from Elon Musk, whose voice was trembling with excitement. "Donald, we have a disaster. Martian rovers are disabled, Starlink satellites are out of orbit, and the signal from Gale Crater is hacking our systems. This is not an Earth-based technology. We need your help." Trump, who never missed a chance to make headlines, perked up. "Elon, this is going to be the greatest mission in history. I will save Mars, and my hotel will be the first on the planet. Prepare the best rocket, and no delays." That evening, sitting in his office overlooking palm trees, Trump received an encrypted message from Vladimir Putin transmitted over a secret satellite network used by the Russian military for cyberwar operations. "Donald, the Red Whisper is a threat not only to Mars, but also to Earth. We must act together. Meet me at Starbase, Texas. Time is running out." In his Kremlin office, Putin, surrounded by data screens, studied reports collected by Russian Mars Express probes and secret satellites. The signal came from an underground complex in Gale Crater, presumably created by a civilization that disappeared millions of years ago. His strategic mind suggested that without international cooperation, the mission was doomed, and Trump, with his charisma, unpredictability, and risk-taking, could be the key to success. Donald is a showman, but he acts in crises, Putin thought as he sent the message. The meeting took place in the SpaceX hangar at Starbase, surrounded by rocket prototypes, reconnaissance drones, and a bustle of engineers working around the clock. Trump Force One, decorated with gold letters and the MAGA logo, landed next to a black Russian military aircraft, whose turbines were still humming. Putin went out first in a strict dark suit. He was accompanied by two FSB officers carrying cases with secret data. Trump, wearing sunglasses and a cap, beamed with enthusiasm despite the scorching Texas heat. "Vladimir, we will go to Mars and make it great again. It's going to be cooler than landing on the moon in '69, he exclaimed, shaking hands with such force that Putin winced slightly. Putin nodded, his gaze cold but determined. "We have 48 hours until the signal reaches Earth and begins to turn off the satellites. We need a team, Donald, and a perfect plan." Trump and Putin understood that a mission to Mars requires an elite team with unique skills capable of dealing with unknown threats in low gravity and radiation conditions. The first one they recruited was Elon Musk, whose Starship rockets and deep knowledge of space were indispensable. Musk, standing at his new Starship Omega spacecraft in a hangar surrounded by holographic displays and prototype drones. Agreed without hesitation. I've been dreaming about Mars since I was a kid, when I read Bradbury's The Martian Chronicles. If this artifact threatens my colonies, I will destroy it. Plus, it's great PR for SpaceX. He promised to prepare the ship within 24 hours, equipping it with anti-radiation armor, laser cannons to protect against meteorites, an oxygen regeneration system, and AI to analyze alien signals. The next member of the team was Samantha Cristoforetti, an Italian astronaut and expert on extraterrestrial technologies. Her experience working on the International Space Station, where she spent more than a year, and knowledge of Martian geology made her an ideal choice. After calling from the headquarters of the European Space Agency in Paris, she said, "I've seen signals from Mars that can't be explained by Earth science. If it's an alien artifact, I want to be there to study it and understand how it works." Her task is to analyze the signal, investigate the structure of the complex, and look for the keys to its deactivation. For combat support, they invited John McCain Jr., a former U.S. Air Force pilot and tactical operations expert. If there are enemies on Mars, robots, Martians, or worse, I'll figure it out, he said, checking his old flight helmet, decorated with the Maverick logo and worn from combat missions. His skills in piloting, shooting, and working in extreme conditions were necessary for possible collisions with the artifact's mechanisms. An unexpected addition was Beyoncé, whose charisma, vocal power, and global popularity could boost the team's morale and draw the world attention to the mission. Trump insisted on her participation. Beyoncé is the queen of the stage. She will inspire us and make the mission the most talked about in history. Her fans will be watching her every move. Beyoncé, sitting in her Los Angeles studio, surrounded by golden gramophones, agreed. If I can sing at the Super Bowl in front of millions, I can do it on Mars. It will be my best performance, and I will inspire the world. Her role is to support the team, broadcast the mission to an earthly audience, and use her influence to coordinate global support. The last member was Sergei Krikalev, the legendary Russian cosmonaut, whose record of staying in space for more than 800 days and experience working in extreme conditions were invaluable. I was in orbit when the USSR collapsed, and I was fixing the station with a wrench. Mars won't scare me, he said, shaking Putin's hand with a firmness that betrayed his confidence. His task is to ensure the safety of the team in low-gravity conditions, manage technical operations, and repair equipment in case of breakdowns. The team gathered in a SpaceX hangar, where Musk unveiled Starship Omega, a giant ship capable of taking them to Mars in 3 days thanks to new Raptor X engines. It was equipped with anti-radiation armor, an oxygen regeneration system, laser cannons, spy drones, and even a minibar with non-alcoholic cocktails added at Trump's insistence. "This is my masterpiece," Musk proudly declared, leading a tour of the cabins with panoramic portholes and touch panels. Trump, inspecting the interiors, noticed, "Elon, add gold trim and the Trump logo to the case. It's going to be Trump's Starship, and it's going to overshadow everything." Putin, suppressing a smile, said, "The main thing is that he gets there, Donald. Mars doesn't forgive mistakes, and we don't have time for shows." Starship Omega took off with a deafening roar, breaking through the clouds over Texas and rushing to Mars through interplanetary space. Inside the cabin, decorated in high-tech style with holographic displays, upholstered chairs, and panoramic windows, the team was preparing for a 3-day flight. Trump and Putin, sitting in command chairs labeled Leader 1 and Leader 2, argued about who would be the main character of the mission. "Vladimir, this is my mission. I can already see the headlines. Trump conquers Mars." Donald exclaimed, flipping through a tablet with sketches of his Martian hotel, which includes a casino, a spa center, and a golf course with artificial sand. Putin, checking the data from the Russian probes, replied, "Heroes don't write headlines, Donald. They're doing the job. Focus on the artifact, not your brand." Samantha Cristoforetti, sitting at a terminal connected to Starlink satellites, analyzed the Red Whisper signal, noticing strange patterns. It's not just a code. It modulates as if it communicates or transmits commands, she said, showing graphs with frequency peaks resembling musical harmonics. Musk, having connected to her terminal via Neuralink, added, "If it's an artifact, it could be intelligent or controlled by an AI program. We need to be ready for dialogue or combat. I'm already programming our AI to translate possible signals." His eyes shone with enthusiasm, as if he was solving the puzzle of a lifetime. Beyoncé, in order to raise the team's spirits, staged an impromptu concert in zero gravity, performing Single Ladies to enthusiastic applause. She floated between the seats, holding a wireless microphone, and her voice echoed through the cabin, drowning out the hum of the engines. "If we save Mars, I'll write an album about it, and it'll be #1, she promised, eliciting a smile even from Putin, who rarely showed emotion. McCain, sitting at the control panel, checked the arsenal: laser carbines, pulse grenades, spy drones, and portable shields. "I hope there aren't Martians with blasters like in the old movies," he muttered, polishing his Maverick helmet. Krikalev, who was used to space missions, conducted training in spacesuits, teaching the team how to move in low gravity and repair equipment. "There is no second take on Mars. A mistake and you're dead," he said, demonstrating how to quickly replace a pressurized oxygen tank. On the second day of the flight, the ship was hit by a meteor shower caused by the gravitational impact of an artifact that appears to have manipulated asteroids in the belt between Mars and Jupiter. The meteorites, ranging in size from a fist to a car, threatened to pierce the skin and damage the fuel tanks. Musk activated laser cannons, knocking down small fragments, but their power was not enough against large ones. McCain, using his pilot experience, took control of the maneuvers, dodging asteroids with jewel-like precision. "It's like a battle over the Persian Gulf, but without a parachute," he shouted, riding the ship after a sharp roll when a meteorite flew a meter from the porthole. Krikalev suggested using the ship's manipulators to deflect meteorites. He and McCain, wearing spacesuits, went into outer space, controlling robotic arms as if in a space box. They fought off the debris, protecting the engines and fuel tanks. Their movements were honed, as if in a dance. Beyoncé broadcast their feat live via the SpaceX satellite, garnering billions of views on Earth. "We are on our way to Mars, and we are not giving up. #Mars mission," she said. Her voice inspired people from New York to Novosibirsk, where school children watched the broadcast instead of lessons. Samantha, watching the data streams, noticed that the meteorites were not moving randomly, but following the trajectories set by the signal. "The artifact is being protected. He knows we're coming," she warned. The meteor shower passed, but the team realized that the artifact was not just relic, but an active system with elements of intelligence. Musk, analyzing Samantha's data, began to prepare AI for possible contact by uploading language models based on terrestrial and hypothetical extraterrestrial patterns into it. "If it's a mind, we have to speak its language," he said without looking up from a screen. Starship Omega landed in Gale Crater, surrounded by red rocks pitted by winds and dust storms that painted the sky a rusty hue, like a picture from a science fiction movie. The team, dressed in SpaceX spacesuits with improved radiation protection, built-in exoskeletons for movement in low gravity, and augmented reality visors, set foot on Martian soil. This is the greatest moment in history. I'm a first on Mars, Trump exclaimed, setting up a flag with the Trump Organization logo and posing for Beyoncé's camera, which filmed him against the backdrop of rocks. He could already imagine his hotel towering over the crater. Putin, rolling his eyes, stuck the Russian flag next to him, his movements precise and restrained. "We are here for the cause, Donald, not for the show." The signal is getting stronger, and it's interfering with our systems. The Red Whisper interfered with their communications, drowning out walkie-talkies and causing glitches in the visors, where maps and data began to flash. Samantha, using a portable spectrometer connected to her spacesuit, identified the source of the signal, an underground complex in the center of the crater, hidden under a thick layer of regolith. This is not a natural formation. Someone built this millions of years ago, probably before Mars lost its atmosphere, she said, showing data with thermal signatures and electromagnetic anomalies. Musk, launching reconnaissance drones with thermal imagers, discovered an entrance disguised as a rock, but guarded by spider-like mechanisms, whose eyes glowed blue and limbs emitted electrical discharges that made the sand sizzle. Putin, based on his experience of special operations, has developed a multi-level plan. "Donald, you'll distract the guards. Your speech will confuse them, and their processors won't be able to handle your style. Elon, Samantha, hack the systems. Find a way to disable the protection. John, Sergey, get ready for battle. We don't know what awaits us inside. Beyoncé, broadcast everything so that the Earth knows. It will inspire people and attract hackers for support. We must show that humanity is not giving up." Trump, beaming, agreed. "This is going to be the greatest distraction in the history of space. I'll make these kids listen to me for hours." He went out to the entrance, holding a megaphone connected to his spacesuit. "Hey, Martian robots, I am Donald Trump, the best businessman in the galaxy. Let's make a deal. I will build a resort here, and you will be my guards. Imagine, Trump Mars Resort with you in the state." The robots, which were not programmed for human chaos, froze, their sensors blinking, trying to process the flow of words, which gave the rest a chance. Beyoncé launched a live broadcast via the Starlink satellite. "We are on Mars, saving the world. Hashtag Red Whisper, hashtag Beyoncé on Mars." Her broadcast has garnered billions of views, breaking all YouTube and X records. The hashtag Mars mission became a global trend, and school children in Tokyo, Mexico City, and Moscow drew posters with images of the team. Hackers around the world, inspired by her call, began attacking the artifact's auxiliary systems discovered by Musk in the data cloud, launching DDoS attacks and phishing programs to weaken its defenses. Putin, McCain, and Krikalev entered through a side tunnel pierced by drones with laser drills. Inside, a maze awaited them, illuminated by a blue glow emanating from walls covered with hieroglyphs unlike any other earthly language. The patterns resembled star charts, mathematical formulas, and diagrams of unknown devices. The security robots, which looked like mechanical scorpions with pincers and laser stingers, attacked, releasing electrical discharges. McCain, using a laser carbine, shot them off with the precision of a sniper, aiming at the sensors to minimize damage. Krikalev, armed with a pulse pistol, covered the rear. His shots were economical but accurate. Putin, with cold determination, led them forward, studying the walls. "It's not just a complex. It's a temple or a command center," he said, noticing hieroglyphs depicting planets and stars. Musk and Samantha, who remained outside in the shelter of the Martian rocks, connected to the external terminal of the complex via a portable supercomputer powered by solar panels. Musk used Neuralink to speed up hacking by interacting directly with code that resembled quantum algorithms. "It's harder than hacking into the Pentagon or the Kremlin," he muttered as his fingers flew over the keyboard and his visor showed streams of data. Samantha, analyzing the hieroglyphs captured by drones, found that they contain mathematical sequences similar to the control code. "It is a language, but not for communication, but for activating systems. If we find the key, we can disable the protection," she said, entering data into the AI, which began to simulate possible combinations. The team reunited in the central chamber, where the source of the Red Whisper was located, a giant crystalline monolith as tall as a 3-story house, pulsating with energy like a living heart. Its surface emitted waves that caused headaches, nausea, and malfunctions in the electronics of the spacesuits. Visors flashed, and oxygen sensors issued false warnings. The walls of the chamber were covered with holographic panels showing stars, planets, and galaxies that had long since disappeared from the visible universe. An image appeared on the central screen, a robed figure made of light with eyes glowing red. She spoke in an unknown language, which made the crew's ears pop. Samantha, using an AI translator connected to her spacesuit, deciphered, "I am the guardian of the sanctuary. You have entered a restricted area. Leave or perish. Your civilization is not ready for the knowledge stored here." Trump, without losing confidence, despite the threatening atmosphere, stepped forward, adjusting his cap through his visor. "Listen, Guardian, I make the best deals in the galaxy. Let's make a deal. You turn off the signal, and I'm building a resort on Mars in your honor." "Guardian Plaza sounds cool. Trust me. We will make you a star." The Guardian ignored him, his voice getting louder, causing vibrations in the floor. He activated the Guardian, a giant scorpion-like robot with claws emitting plasma and a tail firing lasers. His armor reflected the shots, and his movements were lightning fast, like a predator stalking prey. McCain and Krikalev went into battle using their entire arsenal. McCain, dodging the claw, shouted, "This is worse than the Taliban in Kandahar." He fired a laser carbine, aiming at the joints of the robot to slow it down. Krikalev, noticing that the robot was reacting to heat, threw a heat grenade, distracting it, and crept closer under cover of the grenade to damage its sensors with a pulse pistol. Beyoncé, inspiring the team, sang Survivor. Her voice echoed through the camera, drowning out the hum of the monolith and the sounds of battle. "We will not give up," she shouted, filming the fight for a broadcast that inspired billions of viewers on Earth, from farmers in Iowa to scientists at CERN. Musk, having studied the monolith using a portable scanner, found a vulnerability. If you enter a resonant pulse at a frequency of 432 Hz, the crystal will collapse like glass from a high note. He connected his tablet to the terminal found in the camera, but the keeper amplified the signal, causing a malfunction in the spacesuit systems. The oxygen sensors began to blink, and the visors were covered with static, showing chaotic symbols. Despite her headache, Samantha continued to decipher the hieroglyphs captured by the drones and found the code to disable the monolith's protective field. "It's the Fibonacci sequence embedded in their language," she exclaimed, entering the code through Musk's tablet. Samantha and Musk injected a resonant pulse, and the crystal began to crack, emitting a blinding light from which the team shielded their eyes. The Guardian, in desperation, tried to activate self-destruct, threatening to blow up the complex and destroy the crater, which could change the orbit of Mars. Putin, using a capture device found in the tunnel, a small disk with hieroglyphs, blocked the signal, sending it back to the keeper. "We're not losing," he said, pressing the button. The Guardian disappeared in a digital vortex. His voice faded, and the monolith split into thousands of fragments, ceasing the Red Whisper. The destruction of the monolith caused a wave of energy that shook the complex, almost burying the team under the rubble. The walls cracked, the ceiling crumbled, and the air filled with dust despite the thin atmosphere. Krikalev, using his experience, led the team to the exit, making his way through the rubble. McCain was carrying a box with crystal fragments that Samantha insisted on taking for analysis. Beyoncé, continuing the broadcast, sang Love on Top. Her voice helped the team to keep the rhythm and not give in to panic. Trump, puffing in a space suit, shouted, "It's going to be in my book." The head of Trump is running away from a Martian explosion. Putin, who was walking last, made sure that no one was left behind, his calmness contrasting with the chaos. The Starship Omega, parked outside, withstood the impact thanks to reinforced armor and an automatic stabilization system. The team reached the ship minutes before the complex completely collapsed, leaving a smoking crater in the crater. The Red Whispers stopped, the Martian rovers returned to work, and the satellites in Earth orbit reconnected. The Earth rejoiced, watching the broadcast of Beyoncé, who stood on a Martian rock, holding a microphone and a flag with the inscription #MarsMission. The team, having collected fragments of the crystal and hieroglyphic writing, returned to the ship. "It's going to be in my museum on Mars, next to my hotel," said Trump, holding up a piece of glass that shimmers with blue light like a star. Putin, examining photographs of hieroglyphs taken by Samantha, said, "We have found traces of the past that can change science, but the future belongs to us." Musk, already planning an analysis of the crystal, added, "This is the fuel for my next mission. Mars is just the beginning, then Jupiter." Starship Omega launched from Mars, delivering the team to Earth 3 days later. They were greeted as heroes. Airports in New York, Moscow, Rome, Houston, and Minsk were packed with crowds chanting their names. Posters with the words, "Trump and Putin are the conquerors of Mars. Beyoncé is the voice of space. And Musk is the genius of the stars," decorated the streets from Sydney to Sao Paulo. Trump and Putin held a press conference at the UN headquarters in New York, surrounded by world leaders, scientists, and journalists. "We made Mars great," Donald exclaimed, waving a mock up of Starship Omega and adjusting his cap. "My resort will be built, and it will be the best in the galaxy. Believe me." Putin, laconic as always, added, "Space is our common home. We have proved that we can protect him, but this is only the first step towards the stars." The Mars mission changed humanity, ushering in a new era of space exploration. Trump and Putin, despite their political and personal differences, have shown that leaders can unite for a common goal, inspiring the world to cooperate in space. School textbooks around the world have included a chapter on Martian salvation, emphasizing the importance of science, courage, and international solidarity. Universities opened faculties of astrobiology, extraterrestrial technologies, and space engineering, and young people dreamed of becoming the new Cristoforetti, Cricket, or Masks. Musk accelerated plans to colonize Mars by starting construction of a base in Gale Crater, named Starbase Alpha. He installed a memorial plaque in honor of the team, where the names of Trump, Putin, Beyoncé, and others were engraved next to the hieroglyphs of the artifact. The base has become a research center, attracting scientists from all over the world. Musk also founded the Space Without Threats Foundation, allocating billions to study extraterrestrial signals and develop technologies to protect the Earth. "We defeated the Guardian, but space is full of mysteries," he said, launching a new satellite to monitor Mars. Beyoncé released the album Mars Vibes, which topped the Billboard charts, and her single Red Whisper became the anthem of the new space age, sounding on all radio stations. She became a United Nations ambassador for space education. Her concerts raised millions, and her foundation, Stars for Kids, supported STEM programs for children from low-income families. Samantha and Krikalev led an international project to study the crystal, discovering that it contains information about an ancient civilization that traveled between the stars. Their discoveries rewrote astronomy textbooks, and Samantha won the Nobel Prize in Physics. Krikalev, smiling modestly, said, "I was just doing my job." After returning to Virginia, McCain began writing his memoir, The Martian Battle, which became a bestseller. His lectures at military academies inspired young pilots, and his Maverick helmet was on display at the Smithsonian Museum. Trump has launched a campaign to build the Trump Mars Resort, attracting investors from around the world, although Musk warned that it would take decades. After returning to Moscow, Putin initiated the Cosmos 2030 program aimed at developing Russian space technologies and personally oversaw the analysis of hieroglyphs, believing that they could provide the key to new energy sources. However, the mission left questions unanswered. Intelligence discovered that the Red Whisper was not the only signal. Other artifacts sleeping under the Martian sands in regions like the Mariner Valley and the Utopia Plain began to emit weak pulses detected by SpaceX and Roscosmos satellites. Scientists have suggested that they are connected in a network, possibly controlled by a central node somewhere in the solar system. Upon learning about this, Musk deployed a network of satellites to monitor Mars and the asteroid belt. "We defeated the Guardian, but Mars holds many more secrets. The next signal may be stronger," he said, preparing for new expeditions and developing drones for deep drilling. Kim Kardashian, inspired by Beyoncé's success, launched the #MarsDreams campaign, popularizing space among her 400 million subscribers. Her posts about the mission, with the hashtags #TrumpOnMars and #BeyoncéInSpace, attracted the attention of young people, and her Martian chic clothing line with Martian motifs became a hit. She also organized a charity stream, raising millions for the Musk Foundation. The public was divided. Some saw the mission as a triumph for humanity, while others saw the risk of new threats. Conspiracy theorists on X claimed that the Guardian was only part of a lower plan, and that the artifacts were related to an extraterrestrial intelligence watching the Earth. Musk, commenting on this, said, "If they're watching, let them know that we're not giving up." Samantha and Krikalev, continuing their research, found data in the crystal about a star system in the constellation Lyra, which gave rise to a hypothesis about the origin of the artifact. "We just opened the door," Samantha said at the TED conference. Years later, Trump and Putin, who had retired from active politics, met at Musk's orbital station, orbiting the Earth at an altitude of 400 kilometers. They were sitting in a panoramic room surrounded by stars, looking at the blue ball of the planet through huge portholes. "Vladimir, this was the best deal of my life," Trump said, holding a coffee with the Trump Mars Resort logo, which was still a project on paper. Putin nodded, smiling slightly, "And mine, Donald. But space is full of mysteries. We'll come back if the stars call." Their feat inspired humanity, ushering in a new era of space exploration. When new threats appeared, from asteroids threatening Earth to mysterious signals from the depths of space, people remembered how the two leaders, their team, and billions of viewers joined forces to save Mars. New heroes appeared, inspired by their example. Young scientists, artists, pilots, hackers, dreamers, ready to step over the horizon. Perhaps Trump and Putin will return if space calls again, or their place will be taken by those who inherit their courage and determination. But one thing is clear: the story of conquering the stars is just beginning, and humanity is ready for new adventures.